Radio Raheem here with Ed Hearn. Listen, this is a huge heavyweight fight here in the UK. We just saw Anthony Joshua in there with extreme power, extreme speed. How do you see this fight shaping up Saturday night?
I think it's a real fight. I think I'm not sure how many heavyweights in the world can take him rounds because of the speed, because of the power. And you saw, 40% of it right there. But when you're in there and there's 10-ounce gloves on and he's really warmed up, he's going to be very difficult to beat. I think with Dylan, I think it's a real fight. I think he's a real contender. I don't think he'll get nervous. I don't think he'll waste the opportunity. I think he'll be ready. He spent his entire camp with Wladimir Klitschko and Jonathan Banks. So he's up for it. He's ready to go, and he believes he's going to win. And that's a big difference when you've got a fighter who really believes they can win. Because every other fighter that's been in with Joshua has not believed they can win. But Dylan does.
Now, Mike Tyson said everybody's got a game plan until they get hit. Yeah. Anthony Joshua hasn't been taken further than 3 rounds. So to say that he's got a real opponent in front of him is saying a lot. What is it about Dillian Whyte that makes you think he can take that punch and still take Anthony Joshua into deep waters?
Well, he beat him before, albeit in the amateurs. He has the mentality where he believes he can win the fight. He can punch. He has good boxing skills. He has a good trainer. And like I said, he has the belief that he can win the fight. So on paper, this is by far the toughest test that Anthony Joshua's had. I guess we'll see if the hype is real.
You mentioned that.
Because, obviously until he steps up to that level and takes one on the chin, maybe we're all dreaming. Maybe what we're seeing is not the real deal. But me and a lot of people much more qualified than me, believe that he is. And I think it's going to be difficult to get in his way and stop him.
Now, the hype is in your best interest. Everybody's going to have their eyes on this fight because of the jawing back and forth. But in the heavyweight division, that's nothing new. This is something that promotes fights. But you're close to both guys. Is it real, and how deep does it run?
It runs deep. I mean, look, obviously they had the amateur history as well. But I think, obviously from there they've gone their separate ways. But Anthony Joshua's gone, won Olympic golds, become the golden boy of British boxing. And Dylan's grafted away to, I think, 16-0. And done it the hard way. Obviously Josh has been privileged in the amateurs and the pros because of his ability. So, he had the GB set up in the amateurs. He had us, and obviously his Olympic gold medal that's given him a great path. But Dylan's raw, So, but so is Anthony. People have the perception of Anthony that he's just this real nice guy, and he's an animal. And Dylan loves to fight. And it's a great fight. I think it's going to be a shootout. I really do.
Now, people have said the heavyweight division has been in a lull for a while with Klitschko winning for 10 years and not much excitement, not in an exciting fashion. But on the other side of the pond, you've got the Bomber. You've got, a fighter who's feels like he's superior with the WBC green belt. And he says Anthony Joshua not only doesn't deserve to be number 2, but is still kind of a rookie in this sport. How do you reply to that, and do you think that Anthony Joshua is ready to take on the WBC title challenge?
You're talking about Wilder?
Of course, yeah.
Well, in Wilder's fight before he boxed for the WBC title against Hearn, he boxed Jason Gavin. And I think 6 months later, Anthony Joshua boxed him in about his 11th fight. Mm-hmm. Stopped him in 2 rounds. I think he retired against Wilder going into the 5th round or something like that. Wilder took Eric Molina 9 or 10 rounds. Eric Molina would not go 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. No way. Eric Molina took Rafael Zambano Love to the points. Joshua knocked him out in the 2nd round, virtually clean unconscious. There's no point us calling out Deontay Wilder and now Tyson Fury until we are at that level. I believe he beats them all now, but there's no point saying it because we're not going to fight them now. Those fights are going to come next summer, next autumn, winter, but he's going to beat them all. But it's my job to shout from the rooftops. He knows that, but he would never say it. If you ask him the question, he'll give you the answer, but he's not that kind of guy. He's not the guy that's going to talk smack and sit on the ring saying, I knock him out. He knows deep inside, but he knows also that he has to go through the ranks and beat the ranked guys. Should he be number 2 in the WBC? Probably not. Does he beat all the people below him? Yes. So, maybe he should be there. And by the way, every governing body wants Anthony Joshua to get hold of their belt. because he's gonna make a lot of money.
And lastly, Eddie, when it comes next winter, we'll have passed the rematch with Klitschko and Fury. Will it still be Fury that's got that belt?
I think so. I think Fury will be the big favourite going into the rematch. But win or lose, Fury-Joshua is a huge fight. But I believe probably by the time that comes, I think Anthony Joshua might also be heavyweight champion of the world as well. So we've got to find the right path, but things are opening up nicely.
Thank you. Radio Raheem with Eddie Hearn here in London.